Hello and welcome to another edition of 360 Sports. We got a really good show today. We're not talking about the NFL, we're not talking about the NBA or the MLB. We're talking about the global sport. We're talking about soccer or football, if that's what you call it. And we got a really good crew today. To my left, we got Fernando, we got Brandon, and we got Oscar, and I'm your host, George Keane. So where else can we possibly start but with the Champions League, which just rounded out the match yesterday? We have our pool of teams set for the round of 16. The draw will be tomorrow morning to see who will be playing who. But just a quick recap, Mbappe netted a hat trick in 61 minutes, which was just incredible. Three very impressive goals. I'm sorry, man. They crushed Manchester City.
It happens.
Destroyed
it
them.
happens.
PSG destroyed Brest 7-0 with 7 different players scoring. AC Milan eliminated Feyenoord, or they were eliminated by Feyenoord, and Juventus was eliminated in a surprise loss to PSV 3-1. So I want to ask you guys, which game was the most surprising and which result was?
For me, it was AC Milan. I mean, they got much better this summer. I mean, this winter window by getting Santi Jimenez. They got João Felix. They got a lot of recruits in the winter, and yet they couldn't go past the round of 32 against a Feyenoord team that was, in my opinion, very, very lackluster and that wasn't playing really well. And also, if you watch the second leg, Milan was dominating that game before that Theo Hernandez red card happened, and it was an absurd thing he did. Like, you can't flop there. And also, and it just destroyed the momentum for them, and then that's why Feyenoord won.
Yeah, I was going to say Feyenoord, first time going into the round of 16 in their club's history, which is kind of crazy because they're one of the, they're the best team historically in the Eredivisie, which is just insane that they've never been able to make it past, like, in the 1900s either. So props to them. They played well. Santiago Jimenez, the equalizer, Julian Carranza with the game-winning goal, too. That was a crazy game. Props to Feyenoord, man. Beating a powerhouse. I thought AC Milan was going to be on the up and up again. They looked like a better team. Christian Pulisic been balling out there. Rafa Leao, too. They go get Kyle Walker in the transfer window, which he has not looked like his former self this season. But I thought they were on the up and up again. They're struggling in the Serie A, too, and now knocked out Champions League.
Yeah, I was also very surprised by the outcome of that matchup. And I think the most interesting part is that Santi Jimenez just transferred to AC Milan from Feyenoord. So to be eliminated by your former team, when you score within the first minute of the second leg, it looked like Milan was going to go through, but that's that Champions League magic that Feyenoord took part in.
I have to say, I feel like this year with the Champions League, it feels like almost a March Madness feel where
I agree.
Totally.
You would never expect to win. Like, Juventus went down after leading in the first aggregate, and all they had to do was not lose by 2, and they lost 3-1. I mean, completely fell apart. I mean, AC Milan was eliminated. I mean, it just felt like a lot of teams who typically don't usually have a chance, they felt like they were able to pull off some upsets, and it made for, a really good match day, and it's going to make for a really good round of 16.
Also, we haven't talked about Atalanta. They got eliminated too. All 3 Italian teams got eliminated here, and that's embarrassing. And 2 inferior opponents.
Yeah, Club Brugge looked good. They did very good.
But Man City beat them. It's also
that 3-1 to get into the group round of 16 too, which that was a much needed win by City. So they obviously played their hearts out in that one. But going back to what you said, George, this is a great round, great Champions League. The new expanded format has been awesome so far. Been loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
And again, with the round of 16, we're going to get the teams who have the buys now a chance to go and play, and that features some teams like Aston Villa, other sneaky teams in there that now they have a chance to prove themselves in this round of 16.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this format. I really am.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, I don't know if this was much of a surprise because I think a lot of people thought Real Madrid would win, considering all the injuries Man City's dealing with.
Yeah.
But I will say, Kylian Mbappe's play was incredible. I mean, you talk about trying to live up to like a guy like Ronaldo who set an incredible career resume at Real Madrid, and to put on that kind of performance and knock out a team that's very well coached by Pep, it was really incredible. To me, that was a very big surprise as well.
But I'll say this about Man City. I was very disappointed as well. I mean, the game was pretty much over the moment that you found out Haaland wasn't starting.
The game was over the moment Real Madrid tapped in that 92nd minute goal in the first leg of that game. I mean, that just can't happen if you're City. You threw away a 2-1 lead. Haaland had 2 goals, then you give up. I think it was Mbappe who scored that, or was it Bellingham?
No, Brahim Diaz, and then Bellingham scored.
Bellingham scored, the final goal. So it's tough. It's been tough City for City. But they'll be back next year with all the transfer rumors. They're gonna get younger.
You have a lot of money. Let's not forget.
That's true. They got tons of money galore. Pep Guardiola, a great manager. You extended Erling Haaland, so they're gonna be back. Yeah. And I'm not too worried about it. Like Pep literally said you can't be good every year, and this is just a down year for City. They're still probably going to make Champions League, still could win a trophy in the FA Cup, which it's looking more and more likely now that the only real competition is Manchester United, and we've seen the season they're having right now. So
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not too worried about it.
I think we need to continue with Real Madrid though, because let's talk a little bit about La Liga. They have a really tight race with 3 teams who are all left in the Champions League. You have Real Madrid, you have Barcelona, and you have Atletico Madrid. 3 teams. Atletico Madrid's 1 point behind the other 2. Which team do you trust the most coming down the stretch? We saw that they've already had several games this season. Real Madrid has gotten, quite frankly, blown out in both games against Barcelona. And then both the Madrid derbies have been draws 1-1 both times. So which team do you trust going down the stretch here?
I trust Barcelona all the way. I mean, they thrashed Madrid 4-0 earlier in the season in La Liga. They just thrashed them 5-2 a couple weeks ago in the Supercopa. And Barca hasn't lost in 2025. They're the most informed team in the world. And Robert Lewandowski is the leading scorer in La Liga at 36 years old. And Barca just looks like they're not slowing down. And I think this is the year they can take home La Liga for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, Barca, it just seems like every couple of years, Barca has this team that looks unstoppable. This is one of those years again. Robert Lewandowski, so happy that he turned back the clock. Dude was amazing in the 2010s, and now he's getting another chance to show. One of the few older legends of the game that still hasn't left Europe, becoming a Barca legend there. Really quickly, really like what Atleti's doing, but Real Madrid, I just don't think they have it this year, especially with the play of Barca. Shout out to Atletico too. They've been great, but I think they're just still that third team that will finish third and qualify for Champions League.
I agree with the both of you. It's Barcelona for me. I mean, Real Madrid has been playing so many games compared to Barcelona. Also, this is a huge advantage of having a bye in the Champions League. You won't get too congested with fixtures in both the league and Champions League. Barcelona has that rest now, so they can focus a little bit on La Liga and then go back to Champions League a little bit. So now Barcelona, that's why we're seeing them playing much better, because now they got more rest, and that's why they lost. That's why they lost that 9-point lead at one point in the season, because they were starting to get tired, and that's why the teams took advantage of them. So now they're more rested. So I trust Barcelona, and also you mentioned it, Barcelona's been dominating Real Madrid this season. So I just think Hansi Flick has really changed this team so much, and I really think that he has Carlo Ancelotti's formula.
Yeah, it does.
I agree with you. I think Barcelona is probably the team to trust the most. I will say this though, Real Madrid, if they can come out of the Champions League and continue to play, and if Mbappe plays at this level, Barcelona is great, but if Mbappe can play at this level and produce, I think they have a really good chance of coming out on top.
I mean, you can never really doubt Real Madrid, especially this team, the Galacticos Part 3 now is what we're on with Mbappe, Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. It's crazy that they all get all this talent, but I don't know. This Barca team feels like a team of destiny, especially after everything they went through this offseason with the being in debt, with all this debt, being unable to register Dani Olmo for a long period of time. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just feel like this is Barca's year to win it.
Yeah, Hansi Flick really has really changed this team so much, and but I do say Real Madrid you can't rule them out. Mbappe is still on that team, and also they're the kings of the Champions League for a reason. They've won 15 of them.
They're the best European team, arguably of all time.
Yeah, so you can never count them out ever.
So let's continue this conversation. We know the UCL draw is happening tomorrow morning. So let's each head to the board and give our matchup that we would most likely see in the round of 16. Fernando, what do you got?
All right. Well, as a Barcelona fan, I want Barcelona to go up against PSG. Look, I still remember last year, Barcelona lost in the quarterfinals to PSG. Barcelona were up 3-2 after the first leg, and they won in PSG. And they went home and they had a 1-0 lead. And then a red card by Araujo changed everything. 4 goals by PSG, and they went through. That's something as a Barca fan that I still hurts to this day. So I want revenge. But also, let's not forget, there's a lot of headlines in this game. Luis Enrique is going back to Barcelona, Ousmane Dembele coming back, and then also these are 2 powerhouse teams. So this is the most excited I am for a matchup. I hope it happens, and then also the history. Let's not forget the remontada where Barcelona were down 4-0 and they came back and won 6-1. So there's a lot of history. There's so many storylines. I really hope this happens.
I think that has the potential to be possibly the best game going into the round of 16, and hopefully that's the draw we get. But what do you got, Brennan?
All right, let's go.
I
I got one of the same answers as you, Fernando, but I do have a Premier League side in here. This is a match that could potentially happen in the next round, and we will find out tomorrow. It is Liverpool and PSG. Anytime Europe's like top teams get together and play, it's a huge game. Liverpool have been on fire this season. PSG have been picking it up. They beat Man City handily in their in a group stage of Champions League. And then they just go out, beat Brest 10-0 on aggregate too. They've been dominant in Ligue 1. Liverpool, this team could win the Champions League, could win the Premier League as well. They're the heavy favorites. They have a large lead over Arsenal right now. Really interested to see how PSG's attack plays Liverpool's defense. And then that Liverpool attack as well is unstoppable. Mohamed Salah might be the best player in the world right now. And we'll get to an argument with Mbappe later on in the show. But anytime these two teams get together, it's going to be a fun time.
No, I really like this matchup too. If Barcelona against PSG, because we're guaranteed to get either Barcelona or versus PSG or PSG against Liverpool.
Yeah.
We're guaranteed of that. So that's a good thing. So we're guaranteed a blockbuster matchup.
Exactly. I'm excited for that round of 16 too.
Yeah.
Oscar, what do you got? I mean, either way, I think we're set up really well for PSG. So we'll
Yeah.
see what kind of game we get.
They're on a
Alright.
heater right now.
So for my round of 16 pick, I've got two German giants, FC Bayern versus Bayer Leverkusen. Obviously, last year, Leverkusen won the Bundesliga, almost went invincible, and Bayern really got robbed, and not robbed, but Harry Kane's first season with Bayern didn't exactly go to plan. So I think this would be a great round of 16 matchup in the Champions League. They just met in the Bundesliga and put out a scoreless draw. So maybe they're saving their fireworks for the Champions League. We'll see, but it would be a great matchup between the two. Bayern did just have a scare against Celtic in the knockout rounds of the Champions League. You know, Alphonso Davies' last-minute score that passed them through. So I think Bayern will kind of use that as extra motivation against the team that took the title from them last season. And yeah, just be overall a great matchup. So I hope it happens tomorrow morning.
I think that definitely has the potential to be a great matchup. And I think it's a sneaky matchup. I mean, Bayern Munich is a household name, but Leverkusen 100% is
Up and
not.
coming.
Yeah, up and
up and
coming, but
coming.
it's not a name you've heard in the last couple of years of being, a top team in the Champions League. But look, while I agree that all three of those matchups are definitely intriguing, the answer here is simple. And we have the chance to see the Madrid derby between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. And that's going to be a fantastic game. They have played twice already this season. Both games have been draws. There's talent everywhere. As you can see, these two players have been playing phenomenally this year. But this is the reality. Real Madrid has put together sort of like the Golden State Warriors version of like when they had KD, Curry, and Klay Thompson together. They have a superstar team. With Mbappe, with Vinny, with Bellingham, with Rodrigo, they have players all over the field. And so this is a moment for Real Madrid to not only make a statement in the Champions League, but also in La Liga. If they win this game, they likely go into the end of the La Liga season with a lot of confidence. They can win that, and they can also, if they win this, it's probably not going to be too much harder for them the rest of the way because Atletico Madrid is one of the better teams remaining. So this is definitely a very exciting matchup, and I'm really hoping that we get to see it.
I like it too.
I believe that if this happens, then we also get Bayern Leverkusen too. Yeah, because they're in the same grouping, I guess.
Yeah.
So that'd be awesome. Love to see it. I almost went with Real Madrid versus Bayer Leverkusen too. I would love to see the up and coming team take on the Kings. Yeah, and I think that'd be a great
underdog
matchup too.
again.
Underdog
It would be almost Goliath versus David versus Goliath.
Exactly, but a chance where David has a big opportunity too. I believe. Love Leverkusen. Love the trajectory they're on.
And you mentioned the ties here. Now this time we're going to be guaranteed a winner this time.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
there's
we
no
are.
ties.
I think this really has the makings to, really sound shockwaves, not only in the Champions League, but also in La Liga.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we really get to see this. But we're going to be moving on to a guessing game. It's called Who Are Ya? And we're going to have a silhouette, and we're going to see their club history. And our job is to guess which player it is. So let's get this started. All right. Let's see.
Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah. I remember when
That's easy.
you could easily
Chelsea
forget.
did.
You could easily forget he was at Chelsea.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when
no.
you see the role,
Chelsea
when you Yeah, when you remember that he's on Roma, that's when you remember who he
Michael.
is.
He's definitely probably top 3 player this season. I mean, he's been on.
yeah.
He's been killing. He's leading Liverpool.
Guaranteed.
He's
Yeah.
leading Liverpool
Everything.
through the Champions League and Premier League.
Yeah.
He's
But
been-
but they gotta be careful, Liverpool in the Premier League, because Arsenal's coming up.
I don't know. I think it's Liverpool's
They
thing.
tied
Liverpool
against
is
Aston
fine.
Villa.
Arsenal just never get it done.
Yep.
They were last like 4 years. They've been at the top, and then Man City have come up and
Yep.
just beat them
I
every
think
single
mean-
year.
it
I mean,
was on Sunday because Liverpool and Man City play on Sunday.
If
They
Liverpool
did,
if
yeah.
Liverpool doesn't get any points out of that match and Arsenal wins against West Ham, I think we have a title race in our hands as well.
We could. We definitely could. I don't. Who's in third? Is it third
It's
still?
Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham
Yeah,
Forest.
that's a crazy story.
All right,
Is
let's see.
Is this Kai
Oh.
Havertz?
I think it is
I think
Kai
it is. I
Havertz.
think
Yeah,
it is
Kai
Havertz.
Havertz.
It is
Yeah.
Havertz, bro. That's 3 good
Yeah,
teams
I was
there.
gonna say.
I mean, he
Yeah.
hasn't been on anything that's been terrible, but
No.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I mean,
He's a guy I feel like hasn't lived up to his. I mean,
No, I was gonna say yeah.
he has like all this talent, and he's like you always hear about him up and
Mhm.
coming. He's starting German striker on the Germany team, but it feels like he never hits that potential.
the
No.
bad thing is he got hurt. That's the problem. And for an Arsenal, like he was a huge critical factor for them. And I
Mhm.
mean, let's not forget he did score the game-winning goal against Man City in that
Yeah,
Champions League
exactly.
final in 2021.
Yeah.
That
That was rough. Yeah, that Chelsea team was insane, man. That was peak Christian Pulisic too.
And then also Thomas Tuchel bringing that club from the dead to a Champions League
Yeah.
victory was
Yeah, I know.
impressive.
And now
And
Chelsea's back.
and now Chelsea's
Yeah.
back to the
Dogs.
disappointment.
Back to
That's
disappointment.
Anthony.
That's
Oh,
Anthony.
yeah,
Oh
Anthony.
my
Yeah.
God, this
The
guy.
legend, man.
Right, he's been cooking.
Yeah.
Dude, I know.
He's been
Yeah.
When you
well.
get the guy out of Man United,
Yeah,
the guy
I
just
think-
cooks.
I
What,
know.
he has more player of the match games in La Liga in his first like 3 games than Ronaldo or Messi had. Like, I'm not ever, but in their first couple games too.
he's playing really
Just
high level
crazy.
soccer.
That's
Yeah.
the thing would go like something funny about Man United, like not to say bad things to my friend who is a Man United fan, but for some reason they just ruined the player.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Casemiro's another great example. Like he went, he came into that club with
Mhm.
so much pedigree. He was so good, and yet he doesn't even start anymore.
Casemiro, Marcus Rashford's off the team
It-
now.
it
Harry
feels like-
Maguire too.
It feels like when Ronaldo went back for that second stint, it felt like for me, it stunted Man United.
Yeah.
And I'm not like Ronaldo was playing phenomenal for Man United, but it feels like everybody around him, it stunted. Rashford didn't grow into the player I think everyone hoped he was going to be.
Yeah.
And maybe part of that is because Ronaldo returned, but I think that's a whole bunch of
There's
problems.
huge problems. They need to. Glazers need to sell the team. I guess
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what all the fans are calling for now.
Yeah, the only good thing about Man United is Bruno Fernandes, but
Yeah.
but I mean, most of his goals are
I know.
penalties, so I pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're close to being in a relegation battle right now.
Yeah,
Which
they're
is
like in
insane.
15th,
Yeah,
I
15th.
think.
I mean, yeah, what Tottenham
and they got a new
asked them the
coach,
other
and
day,
it's
too.
not working out.
I thought Ruben Amorim was going to be the answer because that way he was coaching that Sporting team
Yeah,
before. That was a huge mistake by him. I would have stuck with Sporting the
yeah, and
entire year.
develop more.
Develop more. I mean, you had Victor Gyökeres, the next up and coming star on that team too. Could have developed him, sold him for
A good-
boatload of money,
boatload of exactly.
and then
like
go off and
that's a
coach somewhere
problem. That's
else.
one reason I respect. That's one reason I respect Xabi Alonso for not leaving Bayer Leverkusen.
oh yeah,
Because he could have taken that Liverpool job when Klopp left,
Mhm.
but he's like, no, I'd rather keep developing my skills before I head to take the next level.
Yeah. Mhm.
And,
No,
it's,
that's
and,
true.
it's, and it's paying off.
And
for them.
I mean, it's worked out for both clubs too. Arne Slot's done a fantastic job. I mean, he was handpicked by Jurgen Klopp too.
Yeah.
They're going to win
Yeah.
Premier League this season, maybe Champions League too.
We'll see about
We'll see.
Premier League. Like I still think
I don't know.
Arsenal
I-
could come back,
last
especially after that tie last night.
team that won champion or the Premier League before Man City went on their 4
They
or
did.
5-0 run
Yeah.
was Liverpool.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Well, talking about all this outstanding play, this is going to lead us to a very important conversation, I think, because after seeing Mbappe hit a hat trick in 61 minutes last night, it reminded me that he was the best player in the world right now. So my question is that a claim you can make without really any argument from any other player? Because I mean, I really don't see. I mean, considering what he's done in the World Cup, you see him in the World Cup finals. I mean, sometimes it feels like it's him on France alone, and they're still winning a ton of games in club level. He's playing fantastic. He got off to a slow start in Real Madrid, but now he's completely popping off. He has 17 goals in 22 games. So is that a crazy claim to make that Mbappe stands alone right now at the top?
maybe in like the last 2 weeks, but I don't know. That Euros kind of stung with me.
Yeah.
He didn't have a
Yeah.
great performance
He
there.
never plays well in the Euros for
Yeah.
some reason.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't know. You got players like I mentioned before, Mohamed Salah. He's probably number 1 right now. He's the favorite to win the Ballon d'Or. And then you also, I mean, guys like Harry Kane too. Could
Harry
kind
Kane,
of be
Harry
up there.
Kane. No, I'm sorry. That's
No,
not
no,
a,
no.
that's not a good one. You know
Listen.
who we're not talking about, and I think we should? Rafinha. I think that
Oh,
guy
come on.
is
Well,
underrated.
Stop it.
I'm a Barca fan
It's
and
all
everything,
right.
but to
No,
compare
but let's
Rafinha-
talk about the guy.
No,
He-
he's not in the
this
same
season,
stratosphere as
yeah.
Mbappe or any of those guys.
No, but I'm saying, like, I think Rafinha is underrated in my honest opinion, and like I think he should be in the conversation for Ballon d'Or. I mean, he's really lifted this Barcelona team from like.
I think he's top 10 right now. I checked before the show. I think he's sitting around 9 or 10.
Yeah, but like
I'm
I'm
not
saying, like
too
I think
sure.
he's really underrated, and I
Yeah.
think I would go with you, Mohamed Salah. I mean, like he's
Mhm.
definitely dominating Premier League, Champions League. He is definitely the star for Liverpool, and I mean, he's just gonna
Mhm.
get better as
I think-
the season goes on.
The
Right
thing is,
now,
does Salah have the
it's
track
Salah.
record to match with Kylian Mbappe? I mean,
No, but I mean, you look at the team. Mbappe plays for France. Mo Salah plays for Egypt.
Egypt, who
And
don't even
they're
make
not-
the World Cup.
It's like the same thing when people were comparing Mbappe and Holland. Like Holland plays for Norway. I mean, it's a better team than Egypt, but team didn't qualify for the Euros. They didn't qualify for the last World Cup, which Mbappe dominated. Same with 2018. Maybe this year or in 2026 with the expanded format, you'll see Mohamed Salah, you'll see an Erling Haaland type in there. And I'd be really interested to see how both of them do.
It's funny that you bring up
but-
Haaland because Mbappe and Haaland are both tied on goals and assists through all competitions this season.
Which is
So,
crazy. And
yeah.
this is supposedly a quote unquote down year for Erling Haaland
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
you can say the same for Mbappe, though. I think this is a relatively down year. I mean, whenever you change clubs, no matter who you go to, you're gonna have a bit of a rust period, and I think he's getting out of it.
I mean, he scored 27 goals in all competitions, and he's played 37 games. I mean, that's still really good.
No, 100%. But I think Mbappe, I mean, if you're comparing him to guys like Mo Salah, Holland, I just think if you put those guys in Real Madrid, I think the Real Madrid with who they have with Mbappe, that's a perfect fit. And I mean, I'm interested to see because, again, if Real Madrid fails to win the Champions League, if they fail to win La Liga, there's going to be a lot of questions asked. I mean, do you get rid of Ancelotti? I mean, what do you do? Because this is a team
Isn't
with...
Ancelotti already leaving though?
No,
Like
he's
they
staying.
covered-
He's staying. Yeah.
Okay.
But no, the thing is with Real Madrid, I do think it will be disappointment if they don't win anything. You can kind of give them a pass, and I'll tell you why. Because their defense is decimated. I mean, they don't have the center backs right now. Rudiger just came back from defense. They're playing Valverde as their right back, who is not even a traditional right back. He's a midfielder. So, like, they're decimated on defense. That's somewhere where you can take advantage of Real Madrid. So, in my honest opinion, if many of those players don't come back from injury, you can make a legit argument that they shouldn't have won anything at all this year. But if fully healthy, I agree. That's an embarrassment that they don't win anything.
I mean, at this point, it's sort of like this. I mean, you either win it all or it's a failure. I mean, at least that's how I see it.
Yeah.
And especially, I mean, Barcelona also a great team. Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, their attack has been fantastic. Rafinha, but
Giving me vibes of MSN right now.
but the reality is like Real Madrid after getting blown out by Barcelona twice, and that's not a matchup that means nothing. I mean, that's an El Clasico. Whenever you match up with Barcelona, everyone's watching, right? And so you lose 5-2, you lose 4-0. I mean, getting shut out with that attack. I mean, I wouldn't let that go.
I mean, yeah, that's like I'll admit, like I thought the first time Barca won that 4-0 game, I thought, and that Supercopa final happened, I'm like, okay, Real Madrid will definitely play better. They will definitely learn from that game. And I'm like, and I was watching the game, like, did they not learn anything from that game?
Yeah.
They just kept doing the same formula. And also, this is the thing with Barcelona, they drew so much of the offside trap, and that's where they're vulnerable. If you somehow manage to time perfectly the trap, you're gonna get past them and you're gonna easily score goals on them. That's the thing. That's a problem with Real Madrid. They just don't time their runs right. With the offside trap.
Well, here's my question: if Real Madrid, the rest of the players don't show up like we're accustomed to seeing, can Mbappe himself playing the way he played against Man City? Can he carry them all the way? Like, can he win it? Can he win it on his own?
He wouldn't need Bellingham in it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
And Vinicius, like
he needs a midfielder and a winger. I think he'd do it, but
that's one reason I actually agree with you, Brendan, about Mohamed Salah being the best player in the world right now, because he's doing it like pretty much on his own.
well, yeah, his striker is Diogo Jota or
Darwin
Darwin
Nunez,
Darwin's been
who
playing
missed
really
who
bad.
missed the sitter,
Yeah.
who missed the sitter yesterday.
Yeah, that was bad.
that was bad.
He's another guy who, quite frankly, every time he plays, it's like just like not like it's a low light reel. I mean,
Exactly.
everything he misses, like he has so much talent. I mean, he's supposed to take the reins from Suarez in Uruguay, and he just can't do it.
No, he can't.
That's what I'm saying.
Now
That's why I think Salah is the best player right now, because he's just doing it on his own. And Mbappe just have so much support around him in Real Madrid. If he was doing all this in PSG, I would agree with you. But since he's doing it on a team where he has so much support, I would give it the edge to Salah right now.
Well, here's a question for you. I mean, two guys that have been in this conversation their entire careers are Ronaldo and Messi. Are they not even? I mean, are these people are they names you consider, or are they, had they, because they're playing in leagues, obviously MLS and Saudi Pro League are not
top tier leagues.
I kind of feel like once you leave Europe, you're
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
forced out of that conversation.
Yeah,
I mean, the
not the-
year Messi won his Ballon d'Or, I mean, I get he was with Inter Miami when he like technically won it, but
it was because of the World
it was
Cup.
because of the World Cup, right? So, and honestly, unless if Messi didn't win that World Cup, it was going to be Mbappe or maybe Holland too. If Mbappe didn't,
I
win
would have given it
So,
to Holland if it wasn't for
yeah,
the World
I
Cup
mean, he
because he won a
definitely-
treble that year.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of factors going into this
Yeah.
debate.
They are still performing at a high level, though. I mean,
They
Messi,
are.
they were playing in freezing weather, and
It was
apparently
like
the reports
-21.
Yeah.
he didn't
Yeah.
want to play because it was so cold. But he came in and he only scored the only goal of the game, which is, I mean,
Like, he's
weak
the
foot
GOAT.
in back
Mhm.
corner.
That's
I don't know
very-
how he scored that. And then Ronaldo continuously scores goals. I mean, obviously the Saudi Pro League, you know, they're starting to get a little bit more talent, but it's still not the same as in Europe. So they're still performing at a high level. I think you're right, though. I think it's hard to say that they're in the conversation when you're not playing top tier defenses. Mbappe is playing a lot harder
Mhm.
defenses. Holland's going against top defenses. So I mean, it's rough in their conversation.
I do want to see them, and I know Neymar's doing this, is why I bring it up. After his 6-month span with Santos comes back, he's going to go back to Europe and play in a top flight division, or at least wants to.
I don't see that happening.
Do you think it works for those guys? Though? I mean,
Well, it's only to prepare for the 26 World Cup. So maybe that you see a little pattern with that. I mean, Ronaldo's been linked to, what is it, Newcastle? Because the
Mm.
owners of Al Nassr
Yeah.
and Newcastle are the same. So he could transfer there.
could you see Ronaldo or Messi? I think Messi. I think people forget like
Maybe after,
He's younger.
maybe during the World Cup. Like if they play
Yeah.
in it and they have a great World Cup, then maybe you'll see him crack the top 30 of the Ballon d'Or.
Mhm.
But they're off the list. They were off the list last year.
Yeah.
I don't see him coming back unless
they're-
until at least 2026.
Yeah,
in the
they're
World
playing in inferior leagues. Let's be honest with us. Like the Saudi Pro League and the MLS. No offense to the United States, are not top tier over over European leagues. You have to be in Europe if you want to be considered one of the best players in the league.
do you think that if they left, I mean, obviously they would have to go back to Europe. Can they perform at the level we're normally accustomed to seeing? Because we saw Ronaldo go back to Europe. He played well. I mean, he played well, but not at the same level. So do you think they could have the same success if they went back?
I'd say Messi can, Ronaldo can.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
Probably because
I
of the
think
age.
I agree with you. I mean, Messi is killing it in the MLS.
I agree. And so, talking about the MLS, I want you each to give me your hottest take for the MLS season and which team do you think might have the best chance of winning it all. I have a feeling I know where we're going here, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and say that Inter Miami gets it done finally this year. I mean, they were the best regular season team last year. They broke records, and then they just out of nowhere lost in a shocker to Atlanta United
Mhm.
in the playoffs. And when my opinion is stupid, a format, best of three. That's not soccer.
It's an American style. It's an American style soccer league.
100%.
Just do the typical
Although-
soccer thing, which is do a home and an away leg, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do best of three. I just think that's stupid. But
This
point
is-
it,
This is why I'm excited to see what the UCL or USL is going to do in
Yeah.
a couple of years with this promotion relegation system.
yeah.
It definitely could force the MLS into a merger with them, depending on the success.
Do you guys also have Inter Miami running away with this title this
I do.
year?
I do.
I do.
I do.
don't.
Who do you?
Who do you
I got
have?
I got LAFC
Oh, for
beating
God's
Inter
sake.
Miami in the final.
In the
In the final.
Yeah,
Why?
That's not-
Why LAFC?
because LAFC is the best team in the league.
It's not. It's
I
not
mean,
bad.
but-
I mean,
But
Oliver
they
Giroud.
only have Giroud and
And Bouanga-
he's
Bouanga
old. Come on.
cooks.
I think I mean, look,
But let's think. Let's talk about who Inter Miami has. It's not just Messi. They have Suarez. They have Sergio
Jordi
Busquets.
Alba.
They have
Jordi
Jordi Alba.
I mean, basically is putting Barcelona back in Miami, man.
It's I'm like no offense to Messi, but it's like pretty much a retirement team for him.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. A retirement team in the MLS is good enough to win, right? So, I mean, here's a really good, important question, I think. If they don't win and Messi doesn't capture this title, does that damage his legacy? I mean,
No,
like in a week
because
league,
Ronaldo's not winning in the
Saudi Pro.
Saudi
League.
Pro
well,
League.
isn't it fair to argue that the Saudi Pro League is better than the MLS?
I don't know
I mean,
about that.
look at the amount of. I mean, Benzema went there. Neymar went, but he didn't
Yeah,
play.
but there are a bunch of. It's a bunch of old heads. I mean, I get that
I-
MLS is coming over too, but I feel like the younger level talent in Major League Soccer is better than what it is in the Saudi Pro League.
I don't know about that. I couldn't like. Young players do go to the Saudi Pro League.
Yeah, they do. And
Yeah.
Like the Aston Villa player Duran, he went. He's
And he's
21.
playing really
he's
well.
21 years old, and he just
Mhm.
went to the Saudi Pro League.
and he's scoring in every game.
How much money did he get? Yeah, well, I mean,
He
Saudi
got, like
Pro League.
Well-
probably like 90 million euros if I'm not wrong. But Like that's how much the Saudi.
I mean, they're
print.
just
That's the thing. Like
it has the
when the Saudi-
potential, but just because of the money, like
100%.
they're going to be.
I mean, they're
giving
never going to
out-
be in the same conversation with
They-
the
yeah.
European leagues. But at the
Mhm.
same time, like if you're comparing MLS, like I think back to when Al Nassr played the friendly against Inter Miami, and Messi and Ronaldo both didn't play. Al Nassr won 6-1. Like the talent level, I think across the board in the Saudi Pro League is higher than the MLS. And so, in my opinion, if Messi doesn't get this title with a team that's clearly better than the rest of the MLS, in my opinion, I think, I mean, it doesn't, obviously, no one's going to look at Messi and say, oh man, this is terrible for your legacy. But I think it definitely puts a little, mark on it. It says, why couldn't you get it done in the MLS? Ronaldo has had success in several different leagues. Messi is not. Messi went to PSG, did not play Messi level soccer. He had his moments, but it was not Messi level soccer. Now he's in the MLS. He hasn't won much yet. Ronaldo, he went to Juventus. He played pretty well. He went to Manchester United. He had a great career there. He had a great career in Real Madrid. So I think Messi really needs to capture this title.
But the thing is, you were saying how Messi didn't get it done with PSG. I would say the same thing with Ronaldo, with Juventus and Man United, because Messi did what he had to do at PSG. He won league titles, and let's be honest, we never thought that we were going to win a Champions League. Let's be honest. That's who
It just
that's who
Neymar,
PSG are.
Mbappe, and Messi just didn't work out.
Yeah, that's
together
who,
on that team. It wasn't
that's
good
who
chemistry.
PSG. That's the reputation of PSG. They don't get it done, and they always choke. So let's be honest. So and this way we talk about the league because they always win the league on. So that was what he came to do. That's what he was expected to do, and that's what Ronaldo did with Juventus too. He won Serie A. In Premier League, he was expected them to get them to the top 4, and he didn't do it.
Well, look, the reality is this, though. I mean, Messi's individual play, I feel like, wasn't as high as Ronaldo's individual play was with Juventus, with Manchester United. I mean, when you look, if there's spurts at PSG where, like you said, it was completely dysfunctional, and you ask yourself, how on earth could it be like that when you have Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar? I mean, you know what I mean? I just feel like at some point, like, look, again, Messi, second greatest player ever behind Ronaldo, and I stand by that statement. But again, like, I feel like you have to consider, the PSG didn't work out. Now he's in the MLS. It's, again, a retirement home.
Yeah,
But-
but I mean, Messi already won a title in Miami.
Exactly.
He won the Leagues Cup.
He won the
Yeah.
Leagues Cup, and
The
he came
summer
and he
there.
won it a month after he came
Yeah.
into the team.
And that was
Really-
before he got all his friends too.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
most of them
Yeah,
to show up to the team.
Yeah,
So,
and he took a last place Inter Miami
Yeah,
team
they were-
to a Leagues Cup championship. Like
Yeah.
that is high. Like that's very impressive. Like you
Well-
can't deny that's really impressive
look,
to take a
I'm-
last place team to a title.
I'm really excited to see how these seasons play out. We're in the midst of a really good stretch in the soccer season. We'll see how the Champions League plays out, and hopefully we get the matchups we wanted. But it was great. Thank you guys for joining us today. That's the last show for this week, but we look forward to having you back on 360 Sports on Monday.